Here we are again, Kinks Part 3, and I'm going to go back to the something else by the Kinks briefly. There's one song I forgot to talk about. It's called End of the Season, and it's a dog, I'm sorry. It's a goofy put-on spoof of a crooner, like Bing Crosby or something. End of the season, winter will come. And Ray's gone off the deep end. I'm sorry, Ray. We love you, but... it even has chirping birds on it. But back to Waterloo Sunset. Is Waterloo Sunset the greatest song the Kinks ever did? Maybe. Possibly. Lead guitar by Dave. Ray sings, Dirty old river, must you keep rolling, rolling into the night. But I don't need no friends as long as I gaze on Waterloo Sunset. I am in paradise. It's schmaltzy, yeah, but it's good schmaltz. It's a wonderful, wonderful track. Can't get enough of it. But now we're going on to a couple other things of interest. In October of '67, the Kinks released Autumn Almanac. Yes, 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 it's my Autumn Almanac. So I sweep them in my sack. Friday evening, people get together. I like my football on a Saturday. Roast beef is all right. Again, it's Autumn Almanac is kind of evocative of the fall and what all the emotions that brings up, but it's also kind of very mundane, middle class stuff. This was a top 3 single in the UK. It's back with David Watts. I got this in Amsterdam as a picture sleeve. Fun thing on my travels. So now we're getting to what is probably the greatest Kinks album of all time, and that would be The Village Green. And interesting, it's not the Kinks present the Village Green. This is the Kinks are. The Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. Now, what is the Village Green Preservation Society? Well, small villages in England often had a village green, a common ground in the center where you could, graze your cattle or something. But also they'd have bandstands on a Sunday afternoon, that kind of stuff. It's common ground, and it represents the country life in England, the rural life of simple pleasures, and that's certainly what Village Green is about. Preservation Society, they wish to preserve. And it's not this we present, it's we are the Village Green. Now, this is an album which sold poorly at first. I'm going to open it up for you. Get that glare off of there. There you go. There they are. Almost psychedelic, huh? Musically, not so much. I also have a Canadian version of this. It's a lot easier to read this. For some crazy reason, they decided to put the tracks as white on page. Not a good choice. But wonderful, wonderful, wonderful album. Probably the best Kinks album of all time. As I said, it sold poorly at first, only 100,000 copies. Now, it's the greatest selling album of the Kinks discography. This is #1. And a few years ago, they came out with a CD version of a triple CD because there are alternate versions of the Village Green. Some of them included tracks that other versions did not. And I'm going to try to cover all the tracks because they are really good. It's a great album. Now, Village Green. We start off with Village Green and to talk about what Ray tried to do, Ray Davies. He originally approached Pie Records and said, I'd really like to do a stage show about this because this is near and dear to my heart. Well, Pie said, no, we don't want to do that. You didn't give us any hit singles this time, and we don't think that album's going to sell very well. They were right. But the staying power of this album was tantamount because it has so much wonderful stuff on it. So evocative, so dreamy, so a lost horizon, a lost paradise, so to speak. That's what the Village Green is, a lost paradise. In a lot of these songs, even on this album, they talk about the young men who escape from the village. They move to London. They move to the big city. They become rich and famous, but they still have that nostalgia. And one of the songs is about that. The first song on here, we are the Village Green Preservation Society. And they make a lot of references here. Donald Duck, vaudeville, and variety. God says strawberry jam and all the different varieties. Preserving the old ways for me and for you. Protecting the new ways. What more can we do? They also mentioned Fu Manchu, Moriarty. Moriarty, of course, was the nemesis of Sherlock Holmes. And Dracula. So I guess what Ray was trying to do when he wrote this was describe old references to literature and to different popular media. Donald Duck. But vaudeville and variety. Yeah, this whole album is vaudeville and variety. So the Kinks are making their stand here. They're saying, we want to protect the past. The great things in the past. What nostalgia really didn't emerge as a concept until the 1970s. Before then, if anything was old and out of date and out of style, people tended to ignore it and forget it and throw it away. But then in the 70s, for whatever reason, they began to discover a lot of things. The Marx Brothers, W.C. Fields, a lot of Mae West, a lot of stuff, old references, old movies and shows and books. All of a sudden enjoyed a renaissance, a return, because people were beginning to appreciate all that old stuff rather than just throw it away. The throwaway culture changed somewhat. And this album, Village Green, came out in November of 1968. Now, everybody else was doing fuzz guitar, and they were getting into country, and they were doing a lot of hard rock stuff. But the Kinks, Ray Davies, bless his soul, he was never in step with everybody else. So, the next song on here is Do You Remember Walter? Do you remember Walter playing cricket in the thunder and the rain? Do you remember Walter smoking cigarettes behind the garden gate? People often change, but memories of people can remain. Ah, so beautiful. Again, it's another nostalgia. It's sort of like David Watts. Walter was another high school chum of the Davies boys, no doubt. Poor Dave Davies, he kept getting kicked out of schools wherever he went. Ray had more staying power. He wasn't raising the ruckus as much. But certainly, again, a nostalgia. And who doesn't have friends from grade school and high school that we remember? We don't see them anymore, but we still think of them. And they're still precious to us. And Walter was obviously precious to Ray Davies. The next song on here is Picture Book. Now, curious enough, there's two songs on this album which talk about photographs. And Picture Book is the first one. This, like in the old days when people actually didn't have smartphones, they actually took photographs with Kodak cameras or Instamatics or whatever, Polaroids, and they used to paste them in albums. And then when your boyfriend or girlfriend came over, your mother-in-law would bore you to death, dragging out the album and say, oh yeah, this is when we went to Niagara Falls, and here's when blah, 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 blah. And you're going, ugh. But Ray was kind of saying that too. It made him yawn too. When you're getting old, middle-class suburbia is what Ray was making fun of on Picture Book. Pictures of your mama taken by your father a long time ago. Yeah. And he always says, so Scooby-Dooby-Doo, which always makes me think of Scooby-Doo. Rawr. To prove they loved each other. Picture book, pictures of each other to prove they loved each other a long time ago. So it's like maybe they didn't really love each other. The pictures were like cement in a relationship that may not have been real. But it was very novel. Certainly, of course, the daguerreotypes were invented in the late 1830s. And by the 1850s and 60s, they were very popular. Photographs were a big thing in the old days. Not so much anymore now that people take selfies everywhere. And it's just a kind of an all-digital domain. Back then, it wasn't. Back then, you had to have silver nitrate. Back then, you had to take a photograph and have it developed. And certainly, this theme about photographs being the only permanence in a transient world, but also being kind of a superficiality of the middle class. Now, keep in mind that the Davies boys were raised in London at a time when there was rationing. Right after World War II, rationing continued in the late 1950s. There wasn't enough food to eat. Everybody was poor, and certainly the Davies with 8 kids were pretty poor. And a lot of their frustration that reflects in the songwriting of Ray and Dave talks about those aspects. So it makes it very interesting. It's certainly a class struggle that Ray had. He certainly had a lot of frustration with the rich. Now, the next song on here is Johnny Thunder. Johnny Thunder was a 50s rocker, a hard rocker in the UK. Not very popular anywhere else, but certainly it would have been popular and important to Ray and Dave Davies and the other boys in the band. Speaks for no one, goes on fighting. That could have been a good reference for Ray and Dave, who did a lot of fighting within and without the band. Johnny Thunder, thunder and lightning. So a nice, again, another nostalgia kick. This one about 50s rock and roll. But this whole album, Village Green, is about nostalgia. It's about glorifying things that we have forgotten, things that we threw away with our youth. Monica is the next song. Now, Monica it's like samba. Dun, 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 dun. And if you listen to the words very closely, you realize that Monica is actually a prostitute. She's standing by a street light at midnight. You know, who does that? Well, okay. And morning to moonshine, Monica knows every line. She'll turn up her nose and say what a fool you are, because you are a fool, especially if you're messing around with Monica. Interesting song. As I said, it's kind of samba. It's like Girl from Ipanema. Dun, 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 dun. Ray liked a lot of styles, but he didn't. He seemed to hate rock and roll. It seems like Dave Davies had to pull him out of his wallowing in nostalgia and say, "Come on, guys, this is the 1960s here. Come on, it's 1968. Get with it, dude." But Ray was, of course, he had a nervous breakdown and a physical breakdown as well a year before. So he was still recovering, and he was kind of lost in the ozone, so to speak. He loved that old stuff. And Monica is a fun song. Dun, 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 dun. Every song on Village Green is fun. Not necessarily rock, but just fun stuff. And there's that tongue-in-cheek, that whimsy that Dave brought. Ray and Dave brought to every song. The whimsy. Now, about then, there was pressure for Ray and Dave to each come out with solo albums. And Dave actually recorded an album around Death of a Clown, and he had a lot of songs on there, some of which were incorporated in Kinks albums. Some were never released before, but I think they have come out since then. And the project was abandoned. Ray Davies didn't come out with a solo album until much later. And, of course, back in the 90s, when they split up, and actually in the 80s as well, Dave Davies came out with a number of solo albums, as did Ray. And we'll talk about those later. None of the albums were as good as Kinks albums, I don't think, but they all had their moments. They all had good stuff on them. The next song on here, people take pictures of each other. So this is just like that previous song, Picture Book, only now Ray's getting really, really kind of angry about this thing. Another photo song, people take pictures of it the summer just to prove that it really existed, just in case someone thought they had missed it, because they may have, and to prove that it really existed. Don't show me no more, please. So like Ray says, I'm sick of these photographs. I don't want to see them. Get them out of my sight. Just to show that they really existed. Because let's face it, a lot of people, if it wasn't for the photographs, we'd say, who the hell was that? You know, decades later, we're looking at these old photographs that grandma saved. Like, I don't remember who this is. But it did give them their moment, their 15-minute of shining, according to Andy Warhol, 15 minutes of fame. Well, this is like a photograph of fame, so to speak. But folks, write the names on the back of those photographs, because nobody's going to remember who they are decades from now. More satire in this song, aimed at the middle class, like consumerism and a false sense of permanence. There is no permanence in this world. Let's face it. We're all just here. We're just passing through. The things we own we're just owned for a temporary time. Then we're going to pass them to somebody else. So, Ray was very psychological about this, very philosophical, describing the impermanence of life. And we may hold on to those photographs, but our kids are going to throw them away. So 2 songs on this album talk about photographs. Very interesting. Ray was celebrating the past, but also reflecting on the impermanence of life. Okay, next we have the title track on this album, Village Green, which the American version, they talk about Animal Farm. I'll talk about Animal Farm later because it did not appear on the UK version of it, but I will talk about it because on Animal Farm, it's a beautiful song. Village Green, out in the country, out in the country, there's a village green. 'Twas there I met a girl called Daisy and kissed her by the old oak tree. Although I love my Daisy, I sought fame, and so I left the village green. So here we have it. I miss the village green and all the simple people. I miss the village green, the church, the clock and steeple. I miss the morning dew, fresh air and Sunday school. And I will return. He plans on returning now that he's rich and he's kind of lost his innocence of life, his youth. All the joys of the village green have left him in the big city, which is cold and dark. Nobody cares about you. So he has a daydream. Ray does it. And he's going to go back to the village green. Daisy married the grocer, who's now owns the grocery. Daisy married the stock boy, I should say, who now owns the grocery. So he's going to go visit Daisy, and they're going to reminisce about the good old times, because that's what you do. But you can't stay in the old times. You remember that book, You Can't Go Back? You can't go back. You can visit it, but you'll never be the same. Just like you're never stepping in the same river twice. You're different, and the river's different. Same thing. Village Green. Lost nostalgia. Lost youth. The lost pleasures that we have abandoned in search of fame and fortune. And once we get the fame, once we get the fortune, we realize what we've lost. We've lost our friends, our family, all the things that were precious to us once. And that's what Ray was celebrating. This is the quintessential song, The Village Green. Again, he talks about the young man who moves away, becomes rich, and abandons. Probably makes fun. I did. I left my town in my youth. Couldn't wait to get out of that. What a bunch of hicks. And I haven't been back, but I do have fond memories. And I have seen some of my high school friends since then. So, there we have The Village Green, Lost Innocence. Now, there's a funny line in here where they talk about American tourists going to the Village Green and saying, "God darn it, isn't it a pretty scene?" So Americans are taking photographs. Of course, they always had the cameras around their necks in the old days. And, oh gosh, this is the England that I really like. So Ray had a gentle poke at an American tourist there as well. So this is a very deep album. I mean, you listen to these songs and you think, yeah, that's pop, that's samba, that's this goofy Ray nostalgia. But there's a lot of thought that went into this album. Where Ray was talking about the lost innocence of youth. Now, there's another song in here which didn't appear on all the versions. Mr. Songbird is next, which is this drifty pop. Sing, Mr. Songbird, with a nice jazz feel to it. Doodly doodly doo. Sing, Mr. Songbird. So he did get a kind of a jazz vocals on that, which elevates it from normal pop. Anytime you put some jazz phrasing on there, that adds a lot to it. The next song on here is Wicked Annabella, which is a very creepy song. It has a creepy bass that runs through it. You just like, Annabella must be some kind of a witch or something. In a dark and misty house, wicked Annabella lives. I've seen her head, I've seen her face, I've seen her eyes, burning my soul, twisting my mind. Oh, this is dark. I mean, Ray, who's usually very bubbly, very, sunny afternoon, Waterloo sunset. Now he's dark here. Twisted, wicked Annabella. It's almost like he has this thing about women who are going to destroy him. Well, Ray got married in 65, and his marriage lasted about 72. It lasted a few years. He had a few kids. So I don't know what the deal is, but obviously he has a thing about some women. Wicked Annabella was one of them. Maybe somebody he knew that turned on him or something. Anyway, it's a deliciously dark song on an otherwise very light poppy album. So you need some of that darkness. That gives you the edge, and that's Wicked Annabella. Wicked Annabella. Okay, the next song is Starstruck. Starstruck's a wonderful song. Baby, you don't know what you're saying because you're a victim of pride and delight, and your mind is not right. You think the world's at your feet because you're starstruck, baby, star. You're taken in by the light, starstruck, baby. You're starstruck on me. So here, Ray's describing a groupie who fell in love with him, and she thought, "Oh, I'm going to be big and famous too, just like Ray. I'm going to be a hanger-on." And no, you're not, sister. I'm sorry. There's no room at the top. But a lot of people do get starstruck, especially if they get to know famous people. Years ago, I was in the LA airport. I met Red Fox, and I made a fool of myself. "Oh, Mr. Fox, I love you so much." Oh, I was screwed. He says, "Yeah, yeah, all right, whatever." You know, but I guess that's the way it is when you first meet a celebrity. After you meet a few celebrities, you go like, "Oh, hello. I hope you have a good time." That kind of thing. They're just people like everybody else. But certainly, that's what Starstruck is about. I'm guessing, a young girl who, a young fan certainly, who became enamored with Ray and the whole lifestyle of the rich and famous. And once you achieve that, once you're in those rarefied realms, which I never have been, certainly it's a different world. And there's a lot of disdain that emerges after a while, I'm sure, because these people are being used. Everybody wanted to use the Kinks. Interesting about this time, 66, 67, they were, the Kinks, Ray was involved with a huge struggle over their publishing. And the Denmark company that controlled their rights, Ray finally broke away from them in 67, but he had to go to courts. They fought this thing out. So although a lot of this music on this album, Village Green, is very mellow, the Kinks were not experiencing a mellow life at that time. They had a lot of controversy, a lot of trouble. Well, I'm seeing this album is going to be just one video here, and it deserves to be. It's the greatest Kinks album by the greatest band of all time. So live with it, please. The next song is Phenomenal Cat, which is one of the quirkiest songs. It's folk rock and very quirky. A long, long time ago, in the land called idiot, there lived a cat, a phenomenal cat, who liked to wallow all day. So here's this fat cat just hanging out. It sounds like a Lewis Carroll story or something, or possibly a Tolkien story. It's very kind of Tolkien, because the music sounds like something out of the Lord of the Rings. It's not rock. It's very, it's very English folk, if anything. But it's light, it's fun, and Ray has a great sense of melody. So he gets it off. He achieves success even through this. Wow, there's a kitty voice in that. La, 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 la. It's good. It's good. You just want to hear a whole album of this, you throw it away. Okay, now we're going to talk about Animal Farm, which didn't appear on all the albums, but did appear on the American version. And this is a great song. I always think about Animal Farm, the book, which was an expose of communism and Orwellian. And but this isn't about that. Ray is not describing totalitarianism here. Ray is describing, again, the village green. And in this case, a farmer living on the farm. My Animal Farm. The world is big and round and half insane. Take me where real animals are playing. Just a dirty old shack behind the house where the hound dogs bark. I want to be back there with the cats and dogs on Animal Farm. My animal home. Animal home. So again, the lost innocence of youth, living on a farm, getting to know the animals. Well, I don't think, I tell you, it's not much fun owning chickens. Those roosters can be pretty mean. I had a farm once. But some of the animals are fun. Of course, we love the cats and the dogs. And you're either a cat person or dog person, right? I tend to be a cat person, but I love dogs. I love my dogs. Anyway, it's a fun romp through Animal Land. It's not the other Animal Farm. Ray took that name and turned it into something completely different. But it's fun. It's whimsical. Again, it celebrates the village green. The next song on here is one of the strangest songs I ever heard by the Kinks. It's called Big Sky. And this appears on the US version, an oddball song. Now, who is Big Sky? Big sky's too big to cry. Big sky's too high to see. People like you and me. Big sky's too big to sympathize. So Ray does narrate some of this about Big Sky. Who the heck is Big Sky? Well, I think Ray is tongue in cheek describing his version of God. They talk about Big Sky sees all the people down below. Big Sky's too big to care. Big Sky can't take care. Big Sky's not going to fix your grades. Sorry. So that was kind of Ray's concept of maybe the universe or the unconscious mind that permeates everything. Some kind of a deity, certainly. Big sky's too big to cry, though he wants to know why. So it's funny, it's quirky, it's Ray getting away with it. I mean, when John Lennon talked about Jesus, he got criticized deeply, as well he should have been. But Ray poked general fun at God here and got away with it, I think. So it's an interesting song, and it's a fun song. It's a song that'll make you think. Okay, so that's pretty much the Kinks' Village Green. The greatest album they ever made. It's regarded by many as their greatest album today. And there's not a single hit on here. But it's that Ray Davies nostalgia. It's the beauty of the Kinks that you gotta love. So that's it for that. Only one album this time. So, like I said, we may go 10 episodes here. I hope you like this. I'm enjoying it. That's the Village Green. In late 68. And we got a lot more recordings to go. So I hope you like this, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.